doing today? Yeah? This sounds quite miserable today, but it's good to have you here. Thank you for coming and willing to dedicate your 75 minutes of this morning for this session. My name is Liz. I'm a program manager on the System Center Operations Manager team. And
I'm Richard Rundle. I'm also a program manager on the System Center Operations team.
Before we get started on the content of this session, I do want to go over some of the operations manager sessions that we have going on throughout Ignite. Some of the sessions did already happen yesterday, including the Jeremy's System Center All Up management session, as well as the Silex MP authoring tool session. Both of them are available through recording on MS Ignite, so please do check them out if you haven't done so. And then more importantly, we have a OM overview session on Friday afternoon. I do understand that some of you will be leaving before then, but please do make sure to watch the recording since we'll be announcing our next 9 months of roadmap, or a year of roadmap, as well as kind of the direction that we are heading towards with Operations Manager. And then the next two sessions are some of the new announcements that we have going on where we have dedicated sessions for. So one is around storage monitoring that we paired along with Windows Server 2016 investment. And another one is around Linux monitoring that we have on Friday morning. Now that we went over what we have to offer throughout the week, this is what we'll be going over during the next 75 minutes. First, I'll briefly touch on about System Center Operations Manager and its capabilities as a monitoring platform, not just as a monitoring tool. And then we will go over some of the community examples of what MVPs or partners have done by extending our Operations Manager. And it will be packed with demos to show you what you can do leveraging our custom dashboard, as well as some of the other dashboards available through community extension that Microsoft have shipped out. We also have a demo around authoring of Azure Management Pack, because it is also in alignment with how you can extend Operations Manager to really customize the monitoring tool to suit your specific need. So Operations Manager has been around for a long time. It's 15 years of investment that we've done so far. It's meant to be very extensible, so it has a lot of extensibility capabilities available, such as reporting that you can do through templates out of box for SLA availability and performance, or you can just directly query your SQL database to extract out the information that you would like. We also have some partner solutions, such as ones offered through Veeam for free for making the reporting easier for your case and having the visualization that you desire. We also recently announced the attached solution, OMS, on Monday keynote, where you are able to onboard onto OMS from your Operations Manager console within 10 minutes if you're up to date on your UR installment for SP1 and R2. It really should take you less than 10 minutes to onboard, and you can hop onto your OMS Internet Explorer and see what kind of data you're extracting out from your database. And then the third part, which is probably the most important part, is the ability to extend our monitoring knowledge. Operations Manager, while it's great at monitoring Microsoft technologies, it can monitor not only Microsoft technologies, but VMware, Citrix, F5, these other solutions available through our partners. So really, Operations Manager can be extended out to monitor your custom application or some of other non-Microsoft technologies that you desire. It's also a hybrid monitoring environment, so you can monitor Azure, or you can also monitor AWS. And then there's the topic of today's discussion, which is around dashboard. Visualization of your data has been more and more important, and we fully understand it. And there's a tool by Select around the MP author. And so we've been having added on investment around visualization since 2007 R2 to 2012, where we've introduced the current wizard that you can see now. And then last year, we shipped out our 11 new widgets on custom dashboards through UR2. These are the 11 sets of widgets that we have shipped out during our UR2 shipment. So just to go through individual items quickly, we had topology widget that we shipped out where you can either select the map view or your custom image in order to show the object that you would like to display. So once you set your background image, you would just drag your objects that you desire and show the monitoring around it. And then we have object details widget, where with a specific group or an object, we can show different metrics around it. So there's an alert, performance, and SLA that you can show with the server or any other objects you desire. And then we have state tiles widget, where you can select multiple objects that you desire to show the overall status of, and number of alerts, and overall monitor health all together. We will walk over some of the demo of these dashboards, and so you'll be able to see how easy it is to set these up. We have SLA tiles widget, where you can select multiple objects to show the overall SLA of your environment. We have image widget, where you can choose your branding image and show it as a part of your dashboard. We have object health widget, where you can choose to show the unhealthy monitors for a particular object, or you can set it so that you see the overall monitors, not just the monitor state. And then we have the contextual widgets. The power around contextual widget is that once you select an object of the ones that the 6 that we just went over before, when you click onto one object in those widgets, contextual widgets will show you additional details around that widget. So we have health widget, where you can see the health of the monitors, and we also have the alert widget, where you can see the details of the alerts for a particular object. And so you can see over there for a particular object you've selected on the left diagram. On the right, you are able to see the list of the alerts that are related to that error occurrence. You can also choose to show certain severity or a certain time range. And then we have the extensibility widgets, which is related around PowerShell. We have PowerShell Grid widget, where you will be able to pull information from your database and query it through PowerShell and show it on a grid line. And then web browser widget, where you can type in your website link and see from your OM console that the website is up, running, and healthy. And then the PowerShell web browser widget, which is probably the most extended and most exciting part of all, where you can leverage these other solutions available. So this is, for example, each grid on there represents the health of an individual workload, where you will be able to see in just one view as to how your overall environment is doing just by color coding it. Now that I've talked enough, I would like to show you some of the dashboards that we have going on so that I can show you how easy it is to set these up. So this is my operations manager environment. It's 2012 R2, UR4 or 5, I believe. You just need something that's high, UR2 or higher for your R2 environment. And for your SP1 environment, you will need UR6 or higher. And so from my environment, this is my templates that's available for my dashboard. And then I'm just going to click my and then you can choose the number of cells that you would like to show. For the purpose of this dashboard, I will be selecting 5 cells so that I can show you 5 different widgets. And then that's it. So now once I wait, I will be able to see that the templates are populated. And so this is the kind of view that you would see from your Operations Manager console when you just kick off your template with the number of widgets that you would like. So let me get started by adding the first widget. State Tiles widget, as I went over earlier, is where you will be able to see multiple objects alert and monitor health on one view. And then for the workloads, I will be selecting some of the Windows Server workloads just to represent a subset of the workloads that you would be monitoring. I only have 2012 servers, so let me add that. Lastly, let me add Active Directory Federation service. Then once I click next, I'll be able to select the severity of the alert or the resolution state of the alert that I would like to display. For the purpose of this demo, I will be just using the default setting where I will be able to see all levels of criticality and the resolution states. So this is the 4 workloads that I have selected to show for the purpose of this meeting, for the purpose of this demo, where you can see your individual workloads running healthy or unhealthy depending on the workload, and see how the trend is doing in terms of the number of alerts, as well as the total number of alerts that you currently have. And then for my next widget, I will be choosing a details widget so that I will be able to see the details of the object that I've selected on my state tiles widget. This is the details widget that you will see once I click onto an object where you will be able to see the details of the object. Let me select another widget around contextual so that you can see the contextual information all together around alerts. And again, you can click on to severity of the alerts or the resolution states that you would like to see. And then you can also decide on the columns or the orders that you would like to display these information. I'll just use the default setting and then create my widget. So this is now the details widget and the contextual widget, which are both dependent on the other main widgets that I have going on. So for example, around state tiles, once I click onto Federation Service, I'm able to see what kind of object this is. And because I do not have any alert around Federation Service, I do not have any contextual alert popping up. On the other hand, for IIS, taking some time to populate. But you should be able to see the list of the alerts that are coming up through the contextual alert widget. Oh, there you go. So these are the list of the alerts that you have currently going on for your IIS computer group. And then you can see that you are able to see multiple columns, such as maintenance mode, name, age, and repeat count and last modified, which is just based on the columns that I've selected when I was creating my widget. And then, so this is what you would show if you were to have simple environment with just some workloads running. And by just looking at this environment, you can see the overall health of the workloads that you're running. But let's say that your company is going more hybrid. You have Office 365 that you need to monitor, or you might have Azure website that you're running. You can show the views onto the same state tile so that on one custom dashboard, you're able to see the overall health of everything that you're monitoring. And so let me just modify the state tiles that I've just created. Burn usage is just the website name that we've decided to use for Azure, but it is running on Azure, and it's collecting the data through our new Azure Management Pack. Now, in a second, you'll be able to see that you are seeing the overall health of your environment, where you have on-premise health, as well as your Office 365 and Azure websites health all on the same view. And so I can see that while IIS is running, IIS is in a critical state, my burn usage website is running fine. Let me just continue on to show a couple more widgets. Let me click onto a topology widget for you to see the map view around our objects. So for the topology widget, I would like to show Office 365 accounts running. My subscription names for Office 365 are just subscription 1 and 2. And so let me populate it. Though in terms of the world map, it just depends on how large of a space you provide for your dashboard. So the image in itself looks exactly the same. And then once you click onto the small one, you can see it's still the same image. And then we provide two views that you can use for your objects. We have the default view and the vicinity view. Default view is great for showing on a small space. Since I'm showing on a small space, I'll be using default node. But we also do have vicinity node where you will be able to see the icon of your object as well as the health of the object. So let me just click onto the default node and then create. So So these are the two, this is the topology widget that is showing. The object that's currently overlaid together are the subscription of Office 365, and I can see that it's running healthy. However, I would like to move it around the map just so that I can have the contextual information around the area. So this is a subscription too, and I'm going to put it on US so that, because I know the subscription 2 belongs to a US region. And then I'm going to put the subscription 1 on France, because I know that it's in French local. So I have 2 separate subscriptions for Office 365, and I can see that for both of the accounts, they are running perfectly healthy. So this is the geomap that we have where you can see the contextual information. Right now, I just use Office 365 account to see the Office 365 subscription health. You can also use these for web tests around your Azure, or you can just use it for any other servers, physical servers you have, depending on the location. And so now, lastly, let me click onto the web browser widget so that I can show you, for example, if you were to have a website running on Azure, how you can leverage the web browser widget. You simply type in your website URL. Burn usage Azure website that we currently have, as the name infers, we don't have anything set up at this point. It's just burning up usage. But for the purpose of this demo, let's say that it is a Bing website or whatever the custom website that you have going on. And so simply type in your website URL, and then you can choose parameters if you desire. I'll just set that as default. And then create my web browser widget. So this is just a Bing website that I pulled up. But obviously, it can be your custom web application that you desire. So you can see over here, I have my workloads, which are just subsets as for the purpose of this demo. But the on-prem workloads on one page, as well as my Office 365 and Azure website, I have a topology widget that I've used to see how my overall subscription is doing. But you can use it for other for our global locations as well. We have a web browser for your website, making sure that it runs healthy or not. And then the 2 bottom widgets I've used to gain additional context around the widgets that I've used so far. So this is what we've shipped in 2012 R2 UR2 last year. And once we've shipped it, we had a lot of community response on how they leveraged our custom dashboard. And so I would like to show some of them. Just to inspire you as to what's possible. So in terms of what we just went through, it was just some basic infrastructure workload, which was a hybrid environment, and it was multi-site. But the next couple of slides are some of our partner slides that they've created using our custom dashboard to sit on top of Operations Manager, whether they're just projecting it through a web console or SharePoint. And so this is built by Argo, and is showing the health of your workloads. This is the new tool that they built through OpsLogic, and I have some examples of what it looks like in real life. And then we have one from Innovative. And then we have one from Tao Yang using the Google Maps, which wish it was Bing Maps, but using Google Maps on showing the geolocation of the devices. So including this one, as well as the ones that you are seeing on next. So pulling up some of the operational insights search within your operations manager console, as well as showing the user that has been authorized to access, as well as some of the heat maps. All this instruction and the PowerShell scripts are available online on gallery.technet.microsoft.com. So if any of you are uncomfortable with using PowerShell script, I would highly recommend you to just take a look at what's currently available there. We have a lot of MVPs or customers who have already put up some of their PowerShell scripts for you to give some inspirations, as well as to get you started on how you can leverage these tools. So that dashboard was great. You can see pretty visualizations. You can customize your environment. But one of the feedback that we've heard after we shipped our UR2 shipment was that it's great for you to be able to visualize your workload that you desire in a specific manner that you would like. But at the same time, some of you are requesting the visualization like SQL 2014 Management Pack. How many of you have seen the SQL 2014 Management Pack or are currently using it? How many of you like the visualization? So we've heard the feedback around it, SQL team as well as the operations manager team. What SQL team decided to do was they decided to invest further into their visualization and the UI to give you even better experience. It is not currently shipped. It is still under development. But they will be shipping out their enhanced visualization around SQL 2014 Management Pack. Which makes you wonder, what is operations manager team doing? So in terms of the visualization, we've partnered up with SQL so that these visualizations are not specifically applicable to just SQL workloads, but they're generic enough for you to leverage it for any groups. So when you are building your custom dashboard, now you have option to use the visualization that you've just seen before in my previous demo. Or if you would like, you can use SQL team's dashboard visualization for the view that you would like to see. And so let me just walk over some of the SQL dashboard capabilities that will be shipped soon. Please do keep in mind that this is still under development. And so we might have bugs here and there, but it will be shipped in the next couple months. Okay. So back to my operations manager monitoring pane. I'll be doing the same thing as creating just a regular dashboard, except now I have SQL dashboards that I can select. And so it has its own template. For SQL dashboard, the whole page is considered one widget. It was done in a way where you will be able to add additional groups and views on one widget page. And so this is where you would start off with. And then you will be selecting the groups that you would like to show. Let me select DNS 2012 servers first. And you can see that just by clicking a couple buttons, I'm able to visualize in a colorful manner as to how my DNS is doing. Let me just add a couple more. This is for the Azure website. The Azure website, as you've seen before, only has an object, and SQL Dashboard only takes in the groups. And so I just created a group with one object. Takes less than 5 minutes, it's no big deal. And then lastly, let me add Office 365. O365 subscriptions, and I can visually see right away that my Office 365 subscriptions are not running healthy. The reason why 1 out of 3 is currently in a critical state is because I entered in wrong subscription information on purpose. So you can see the color schemes that's going on. You can also expand onto any of these groups to see how the alerts are distributed. You can also easily remove any information that you feel is unnecessary. And just as easily, you can also add them back. And so now let me drill down into one of the group that I've just shown. Once you double-click onto the specific group, this is the visualization that you will get, where you can see the list of all the objects, as well as the active alerts and the monitoring going on. So from here, you can easily add additional monitor that you would like to see. So now I've added availability and configuration, but you can add any of the monitors that's currently being used for your particular group. I would also like to show you the performance visualization that SQL team has. And so this is the kind of visualization that the SQL team came up with in terms of the performance visualization. And when you double click onto it, this is just the regular performance view that you're familiar with inside Operations Manager. And you can click onto the relevant performance counters that you would like to see in graphed. Since you're already all familiar with it, I'll just exit out of that part. And so this is the monitors that you're seeing right now, where just as you're familiar with Operations Manager, when you double click onto a monitor, you can gain additional context on the details of all the monitors that's currently being monitored. And so now let me go back to the overall view. You can also set some of the custom settings around it. You can choose your background color that you would like or your manager would like. You can also set the refresh rate or the time interval. And so this is the SQL team's visualization that they've developed. It will be shipped in the next couple of months coming up, but you will be able to leverage it not just for your SQL monitoring, but for any kind of custom dashboard that you would like to show. So when you think about it, Operations Manager really can be extended out in any manner that you would like. It's not just about the custom widgets that we ship through our UR cadence, but you can see through a SQL team's example that they can also go ahead and build their own custom dashboard on top of it. And you can leverage their investment so that you can customize your environment and leverage overall similar scheme depending on the workloads that you would like to show. So now that we went through the SQL dashboard and the Operations Manager UR2 dashboard, I would like to walk you through, Richard will be walking you through the authoring Azure Management Pack experience. Because we've taken an innovative approach on our new rev-up of Azure Management Pack, where not only because of the nature of the service, but also because Operations Manager as a platform can be leveraged to meet any of the needs that you need. So I'll let Richard explain all about it.
Today is already using the Azure.
Audio. Can't hear you.
All right, we know this one works. Sorry about that. So who here has been using the Azure Management Pack, the existing Azure Management Pack? I saw a few hands earlier. I know you guys do. Who's tried to customize it? Who's wanted to customize it? So one of the issues we've got with the current Azure Management Pack is it's actually kind of hard to customize. It really means breaking out your favorite authoring tool for Operations Manager and going through and getting right into the Management Pack XML and doing the additional monitoring. But even if you're willing to do that, the other problem we've got with the existing Management Pack is that it's only for a small number of Azure services. So it covers your web and worker roles. It covers your virtual machines. You can get an additional one for SQL Azure. You can get another one for Azure Service Bus, and you can get one for HD Insight. But if you're running any other Azure services, so Azure websites like Liz showed in her demo, or just any of the other machine learning, document DB, mobile services, API management, if you're using any of those services, then you can't actually do the Azure Management Pack doesn't let you do that monitoring. So what we've been working with is a way to fix that problem. And one of the challenges we have with Azure is Azure releases a new service probably once a month, maybe once every 2 months. There's a brand new service there. And under the existing model we've got for the Management Pack, we would need to rev the Management Pack for each of those new services. That's a lot of work for us. It takes time. It's just not very dynamic. So what we've looked at is changing the way we do it. And so we're doing a monitoring wizard to go ahead and generate rules and alerts. And we're doing dynamic discovery of Azure resources and the performance counters. And what that means is that as new services light up in Azure and become available, this new version of the Azure MP will actually discover them. As they add performance counters, it will discover them. and make them available for you to do monitoring with. So let me show you what that actually looks like. So here I have just a resource performance view. I can see a graph, and you can see down the bottom a list of resources and the performance counters that are exposed. This is just a standard operations manager performance graph, so I can add and remove items from the graph to go through and see the performance counters. What I want to spend time on today, though, is actually showing you what the authoring experience is like. So if I click on the authoring space, you can see now that we've got a Windows Azure a monitoring authoring wizard. So if I go through and run through this wizard, I can show you how easy it is to create the management pack. So normal management pack stuff here, we'll enter in a name. I'm a good operations manager admin, so I'm going to put all of my customizations into their own management pack. And that's actually kind of important for this one, because this goes and creates a fairly big unsealed management pack that you can then export into just the raw XML and then import into other operations manager environments. You could also then go through and do any tweaks that you needed for the management pack as well inside the existing XML. The other thing we've changed with the Azure Management Pack is the way we do authentication. So historically, Azure has used certificate-based authentication. Who's used the Azure certificate-based authentication? Was that fun? Was that, you know, create self-signed cert, upload to Azure, create other key? So Azure's been moving to a model of using Azure Active Directory, which is basically a username and password to access your Azure account. And so the same way that you would do for your Active Directory on-premises, where you might create a service account that has access to monitoring resources, you can go ahead and do the same thing here, create a service account, authenticate with Azure, and then have access to all of those resources. And then as Azure builds out its role-based access control, you can actually make that service account only have read access to your Azure subscriptions. Under the old certificate-based model, it's got full admin privileges. So anyone with that certificate can connect and do whatever they want within the subscription. Now, under this model, you actually have a chance to go through and do some role-based access. So you can see here I'm using a service account, I enter a password, I now have, it's now gone and had a look at what's running in the subscription I selected, and you can see I've got mobile services in here, I've got automation accounts, document DB, the Microsoft.Insights that you see there, that's actually Application Insights. So if you're using Visual Studio and Application Insights, those resources are actually exposed here. And go ahead and I'll select all of these. Click on Next. It's now gone and worked out which of these resources are exposing performance counters that I can go and do monitoring on. So let's go and have a look. So under mobile services, there's 2 counters, document DB, Microsoft Insights has got 22. You can see quite a few in there. We've even got the web tests. So if you're familiar with the GSM web tests, the Application Insights web tests, they show up here as well. And then even our traditional virtual machine. So if you're in the Azure portal and you select a perf counter view, you can actually get hold of these perf counters. And now we're exposing them here in the Azure Management Pack. SQL Azure, we've got a bunch of performance counters for SQL Azure, server farms, and even the websites as well. So you can see a whole bunch of resources for websites. And what I can do, basically, collecting these perf counters is as simple as checking a box. So check a box, yes, I want to collect this, bring this information into Operations Manager, make it available. But what if I want to set an alert rule? Well, that's fairly simple as well. I can click another box and say, okay, I want to generate an alert. And right now, we've got a choice of greater than or less than. So in this case, I'm looking at my average response time for a web server. If that's greater than 5 seconds, generate an alert in Operations Manager. And so I can go through any of those perf counters that you've seen exposed in that list, any that get added into Azure in the future, show up here. I can select them through clicking, and I'll go through, and it will actually generate a management pack for me. So that's what we can do now, is we can go ahead and click on Create. This is going to go through this. Heads up, once this management pack's available. This process is fairly time-consuming at the moment because it's going through, it's generating a management pack for you. And I'm just going to flip across because I've got an example of what that management pack looks like. So here we've got a management pack that's been generated by the new Azure MP. And it's exactly the same as if you had to author the management pack, except we've taken that trouble, the sort of the effort out of doing it. This management pack that it's created, it auto-created a bit over 6,000 lines of XML for doing the monitoring. And if we have a look at what's in here, you can see it's got the usual references. So it makes use of references to some of the standard management packs. It's gone ahead and created for each of those resources we saw a class. And so with the class, you can then use it within Operations Manager for doing, setting up other monitoring. As you saw that Liz did with the dashboards, she was able to take resources created with this management pack and make them available in the dashboard. So we've got all of the classes. We actually go ahead and we create data collection modules so that we know how to go and collect the data for each of these. So if you needed to extend the monitoring, you could actually make use of the data source modules that we've created for this. It goes ahead and creates monitors for all of the resources as well. And so you can see that we've got a collection of unit monitors that are in place. We've got all of the monitoring discoveries that have turned up, and then the alert rules as well. They're all in here, all based on the clicks that we did through the monitoring wizard. We've got the monitors, some overrides, and then we get into just the normal parts of the management pack for presentation and language packs. So you can see that this is just through that simple wizard, I've been able to go through and create my own management pack for monitoring Azure resources that is actually able to handle new Azure resources as they become available. Now, one of the questions I often get about the Azure Management Pack is, oh, do I have to install an agent on it? Now, if you've got virtual machines running in Azure and you've got connectivity between those virtual machines and your Operations Manager environment, by all means, go ahead and install the agent on there. You can then have workload monitoring take effect. So if you're running SQL Azure or SharePoint, you can have the agent do the collection and do the workload monitoring that you're used to. But all of the monitoring I've just shown you with the Azure Management Pack is agentless. There's no agent involved. The only thing I had to do was set up the subscription, connect to Azure, and select the perf counters that I wanted to collect and move through. So that's a preview of the upcoming Azure Monitoring Pack, updated management pack. That'll be available later this summer probably. We've got a few more things that we want to work on and do with it. Yeah. So I'm going to pass back to Liz now.
Thanks, Richard. So Richard already has gone through the demo of,
Thank you,
hello? Can you guys hear me? Okay, perfect. So Richard just went over some of the what it takes to author Azure Management Pack. While it is about Azure, when you take that out of, when you think about the process that we just went through, using a management pack, we just showed you how easy it is to author another management pack. Just by clicking buttons to set rules or alerts or threshold, we produced another management pack, which in itself is really an MP authoring experience. And so when you think about all this, about how different teams can build their own dashboard widgets on top of the custom dashboard that we shipped out last year, as well as the new MP authoring experience that can be done. Another thing about Azure Management Pack that Richard just showed, along with Office 365, was because these are cloud services, we are dynamically searching for the resources that are related to your subscription. And so you are able to leverage Operations Manager as a platform and still monitor these cloud services, or build visualizations on top, or leverage these community resources that's available. It sounds like summer will be exciting time because not only Azure Management Pack, but also SQL Management Pack will be shipped around that time as well. And so I hope all of you will be able to leverage not just our UR2 shipment of the 11 widgets that we've shipped out, but also the SQL team's view and the UI experience that they made generic enough for any workloads to be able to be visualized. And so if there's any questions at this moment, we have mics spread it out throughout, so feel free to ask questions. Thanks everyone for coming.